Here the amazing thing was that you had the ability to step away from the office, delegate your responsibilities, and really focus on what it is you're involved in. And for me, a lot of it was teaching an old dog that they can learn new tricks, that everything that you do on your various leadership courses is not the same, and that every time you sit down, especially if you have the ability to totally immerse yourself in the environment, the takeaways are very strong. So it was a valuable experience.
I've been really impressed with the quality of some of the lecturers and guest speakers. I didn't expect to get blown away from that side of things, but in some instances I really was, both locally and while we were abroad. It was very impressive.
Dr. Rija, which we met in the first month or so of our IEDP, and he was absolutely riveting.
Incredibly exciting, vibrant, energized, innovative, and left you feeling, wow, this is such a game changer. It's such a step away from where we are, from what we do, from our current practice.
Standing back and reflecting on it, I've had an absolutely fantastic time being with a bunch of people who I hope to keep as friends for the rest of my life. I certainly feel I've made some really good, formed some really good relationships here. Being with teams all along the way in South Africa, Uganda, London and Dubai, I think we forged special friendships. We've learned from each other, and I think we've all come out with a deeper sense of knowing one another.
It has been an awesome journey for me, I must say. The reason why I say that is I did a lot of leadership courses previously, and I came into this program with that mindset that, okay, what is this course going to give me?
My leadership quest is an endeavour at incorporating some of the key learnings from the head, heart and hands module that we did on the program.
But I think the biggest standout for me was the leadership quest and the journey that I've had to travel to where I find myself today.
It was a journey of self-reflection, introspection and about honesty.
So if I tie it back to aspects of the program that I enjoyed, when I think head and what resonated well with the head, I guess was those quality of lecturers and guest speakers I alluded to, because a lot of them really stimulated some of our thinking, really got us thinking about things a bit differently. Heart, I think, was the networking and the bonds formed over this program with my fellow delegates. I think there's some good friendships that were formed that will go a long way, both personally and professionally. And then with regards to the hand and the execution bit, I think we got to see a bit around how banks across the globe execute or not execute things in some instances, and the lessons we take from there that we can bring back.
So it's about, being able to create the vision, give direction to teams from the head aspect. The heart is, building trustworthy relationships or trusting relationships with your team, building authentic relationships, and using empathy and a knowledge of your team members on a personal basis. And of course the hands is about knowing how to guide, how to roll up your sleeves and get involved when you need to and provide the guidance and structure that your teams need. And I think a combination of those three at any point in time builds for success.
I'm actually at the moment using that model in my current role. So I've introduced it into the business, and people are starting to talk about what sits in the head, what sits in the heart, and what sits in the hands. So it's simple, it sticks, and it's a lot less complex in defining what leadership, is all about. So I think it struck a chord with me.
prepare a brief presentation of why Honda followed the strategy that they did. Because they had a culture of success against all odds.
The whole trip was good, well, better than good. But you know, if you soak up a lot of the learnings with a Joel overseas.
Uganda was humbling, and I think working in the Africa space and having the responsibility of growing into Africa, I think my biggest realization is go there, you know, go and walk a distance in people's shoes and deepen your understanding. You know, it's not just as simple as going into Africa and doing business.
What was special for me is the fact having to see how South Africa is doing, especially the banking industry, how we doing compared to the international markets. And it was really exciting to see that we're not very far off.
The perception is that we are living in the dark ages, and was quite eye-opening when I went to London and Dubai to see, you know, that South Africa is actually not you know, all that far behind the latest trends in banking. Yes, we all have learnings and development areas that we need to focus on as countries and as an industry, as a banking industry. But I think in certain respects we compare and fare very, very well with the international community and the international industry.
I've been particularly interested in a bank called Metro Bank. It is a bank that is run like a takeaway food store. They're open 7 days a week, very innovative, very much up to convenience to the customer. But in terms of convenience, there's definitely more that our SA banks could do. And I think some of them definitely have some learnings to learn from our UK partners.
I've come back with a far stronger reinforced view that South African banks are probably leading. We're not lagging in any way. Where we will fall behind is on the IT and data area of digital innovation, digital revolution technology. Because most of the local banks have antique heritage IT platforms. They do not have a budget or thought process around putting in a new single source platform. The newer offshore banks that have committed that IT spend to single platform up front have got revolutionary platforms.
The Dubai experience, I think my deepening of my understanding of the Sharia banking, I mean, upon coming back from Dubai, I could engage, you know, because I work in business banking, my colleagues around, are you really truly, you know, speaking to what this is really about? Because it's deeply seated in a belief, you know, in a religion. So it's who you are. So how do you as a bank, you know, develop products and come with that product with that kind of intent? So I think lessons for me was that, you know, do we have a product, or are we really genuinely speaking to the Islamic community?
Dubai was an experience in, I'm not sure how to term it, it's probably the most unfriendly banking environment I've seen. People sitting in queues with numbers like you're at Department of Home Affairs and being summoned like, hello, and off they go and they sit in front of the bank manager, all respectful. Astounding. Very far behind. But for Joe Public, he's going to have a terrible experience.
What came across quite clearly was the move towards localization and regionalization. So the banks taking active steps to get closer to a community or a segment and not viewing, or at least showing an intention to not view people as this one-size-fits-all segment. I've often heard and it being referred to as a strength of the SA banking system and how it's quite an asset. You don't really get an appreciation for that until you see how it's done elsewhere. And that was really highlighted for me as part of the trips.
I know what's going on. I know how the other big banks in the UK and the rest of the world, Uganda, is also behaving themselves. And I can now give some info and some very useful insights to MFC and Nedbank.
The Leadership Quest has helped me to crystallize very personal leadership goals that I have set for myself, that I believe if I follow will help me achieve very distinct, tangible goals that will help me progress in my career and help me progress as a human being.
Innovative ways of thinking, whether you're looking at strategy, leadership, human capital management, general innovation, there's a huge amount of value that comes out of the course, so definitely recommend it.
I think it's a great learning opportunity. Thank you to Bank CETA and to Wits Business School and to everyone involved.
I would like to take the opportunity to thank the Bank CETA as well as Wits Business School for providing us with a tremendous opportunity.
And this network, this is something that we need to keep with us throughout our working careers. This is one special bond that we all formed.
And we had the most amazing people surprise us with talents that added huge value to the group that none of us had or didn't expect. So just well done to everyone on your journey and your growth. You stepped up and you did well.